All right. Good morning, everybody. Ross Givens here. Now, I know the image you're seeing there was for my boy Anthony Speciale to be on this morning. He is at the doctor, so I told him I'd come in. I wanted to take a look at some insider stuff. Now, Anthony's a handsome guy, maybe more fun than me, but hopefully I'll fill the gap all right here. Anthony is a specialist in crude oil trading and makes a lot of money in energy. We're going to take a look at a different market, just a stock market, and particularly stocks being bought by insiders. Now, insiders, when I talk about that, I just mean people on the inside who have access to private, non-public information about their business. It makes a lot of sense to follow a stock being bought by its CEO, its CFO, its chairman of the board, those people who have inside information about that company, and I'm tracking their personal trade. So what I thought I'd do this morning, just show you a quick scan that I'm performing here to find some stocks being bought by insiders. Now, we can take this a whole lot further. There are ways to look at, I'll just show you here, insider trends, things like that. We can actually break down different sectors of the market. This shows the buy-sell ratio. So the higher these green bars are, the more insiders are buying, the lower, the less. We can actually break it down by sector to find areas where insiders are buying most heavily. So like financial services, for example, is kind of about even. Real estate, still somewhat elevated, was very low in 2021. Energy, I mean, look at a spike here in energy buying. See right here, what is this? This was kind of going off screen here, but I think this is February, March of 2020. That was the low in energy prices. We see the big spike in insider buying here. And look what's happened to energy stocks since then. They've gone up more than 100%. So while this is not going to time it down to the penny, it's a great way to look at where insiders are placing their bets, what stocks, what groups of stocks they're buying. Look at the industrial sector here. Big spike. I like to show this chart. Let me see if I can blow this up for you. This is the basic materials section showing you the insider buying and selling. Again, the higher those green bars are, the more insiders were buying, the lower, the less. And look at this giant spike here. See when that is? March of 2020. Most of you probably remember what was happening March of 2020. That was the COVID pandemic, the peak of it. And it's when the market just absolutely fell apart. The indexes dropped like 30% in a month, the fastest and wildest sell-off I've ever seen. But look at this spike in the insider buying in basic materials. I mean, literally just went off the chart here, 5x what it's ever been. And look what happened to basic material stocks. I mean, they tripled, doubled, tripled in months. And it's not surprising. You think about what basic materials are. It's lumber, it's copper, it's steel. And who remembers what happened to those prices in 2020, early 2021? If you tried to buy a house, you know, your lumber package went up $80,000 because the price of lumber just surged. So it's one example, but it's a great way to kind of illustrate how insiders are so good at timing these lows. Look at this big cluster buying here, 0809, right there at the lows of this market before it ran from 30 to 60 in just a couple of years and eventually all the way up here to 150. So just wanted to show you that. But we're going to look at a scan for individual stocks today. And this is an in-depth screener, and you can look for anything: return on assets, return on equity, earnings per share growth, momentum. I mean, literally any nerd characteristic. I say that nerd lovingly because I'm a junkie of these stats as well. But we're going to ignore all this because the fact is it doesn't really matter. You can spend your whole life analyzing these fundamentals, and at the end of the day, you're going to realize very quickly what matters is what people are buying and what they're selling. That's what moves stocks. I don't care how cheap a stock is or how expensive it is. If it is in demand, it's going to go up because there's people buying it. If no one wants it and there's lots of supply and they're selling it, it's going to go down. So we're going to focus just right here in this center section on the insider action. Now I'm going to look at total insiders. If you want, you can break it down by just a chief executive officer, just a chief financial officer. But I'm going to run a really simple scan. I'm going to look for stocks being bought by 2 or more insiders. And I'm also going to filter that to buys above $200,000. And the reason I do this is I don't really care about the nickel and dime trades. I don't really care if There's a couple of board members buying $10,000 of the stock or $5,000, or they have an automated 401k investment. I don't really care. I want sizable trades. I want something that moves the needle. Again, these are buys coming from in their personal account by the top insiders at that company. So if I'm the CFO of a certain company and I'm taking $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 my personal money, putting it into the stock at the market, if nothing else, it tells me the stock's probably not going to go down a whole lot unless this guy or gal is just a complete moron. So again, I'm filtering this for 200,000 or more, and we'll get I'm going to set the date. Let me go over here, set the date for this. I'm just going to look at the most recent 2 weeks. So from September 1 to today's date of September 15, and we'll see what our results are. Now, here are the stocks down here at the bottom. Let me go, see if I can get some of this off the screen for you. There we go. Here's the stocks coming across our list. Sorry, scan all right. So Keurig, Dr. Pepper, Energy Transfer, Texas Pacific Land. Now, I run these scans weekly, so I know the names that come up all the time. So like Texas Pacific Land, for example, I know there's insider buying pretty much around the clock in this thing. And if I can show you this in a chart. Yeah, so take a look at these charts. Of course, they're going to load slow when I'm live on YouTube. But you can see the one over here on the right. This is showing you the volume of insider buying and selling. So the higher, the more, the lower, the less. And each one of these is a single month. So all the way back here to September of 2019 up to the most recent month. And I mean, every single month there's insider buying. And in fact, this month is so far much lower than all the previous months. So even though this thing comes up and you go, oh man, look at this, this director bought, it's nothing, 13 shares. Right, another 13 shares. These are just automated buys that go on. They have set up for maybe a 401k plan or something like that. But all these buys are showing up. But one, they're very small, and two, it happens all the time. So this is one that's not really coming to my attention. Now, I've kind of ran through some of these this morning. I'm going to focus on a couple of them here in this live session. But one other quick thing I'll do, and I'm just going to move this off screen really quickly. And you can just, if you want to just screenshot this list here and follow along with me, you can. We're just going to kind of run through these in a sort of lightning round way. FFIN, WWD. Let's just screenshot that real quick. Okay, and then here's the others. I'm just screenshot that you can have it off screen, but all I'm going to do is I'm going to do a quick run through on the charts. Now, as I mentioned, when it comes to stocks, I don't care how good the outlook is. If the chart is going straight down, I have no interest in buying it. All right. If it's just being dumped, if it's in a vicious downtrend, if institutions are dumping a stock, I'm not going to fight the currents. Let's just run through these. Keurig, Dr. Pepper looks fine, maybe. Okay. Energy Transfer looks very strong, near its highs. Good sign. Remember, insiders are typically going to be buying for one of two reasons. Number one, the stock is beaten down. It's very low. They think, hey, that's really cheap. I think the stock's worth a lot more than that. In the investment business, we call that a value trade. It's what people like Warren Buffett are known for. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's saying, look, this stock, and let me just find one that's really low so you can get a better example. All right, so here's CNA. We've had two insider buys here, and they're looking at this stock. Let me just stretch this over, right? Going, all right, it was $50. Now it's down to 38. We think this company's probably worth more than this. So I'm going to buy some here. I'll add if it keeps going lower. The problem with that is the cheaper the stock gets, the more attractive it looks. You liked it at 38. You love it at 28. You're mortgaging your house at 18. Meanwhile, you're sitting on piles of losses and you're adding to those losses. So I don't really like the dollar cost averaging approach for those reasons. I'm also a more active trader. But insiders often do that. For one thing, they have to follow something known as the short swing rule. When they buy their own stock, they are not allowed to sell it for at least 6 months. So they're not buying on Tuesday and selling on Friday. But because of that long-term time horizon, they're okay buying here if it takes a year, 2 years for the stock to reach they think it's worth. I don't want to wait that long. I have no interest in that. So the stocks that are trending lower like this, I'm really not interested in, because the odds of making a quick move higher are lower. On the other hand, let's just run through the rest of these. Elon, I mean, this looks terrible. This is hideous. This stock has gone, I mean, what's this thing down? It was down 58% the last year. Could it be higher next year? Sure. It could also be a lot lower. I just have no interest because there's no demand for this stock. It's not rapidly rising now. So it's not one that grabs my attention. CABO is another one. Also viciously ugly. Don't like the look of this. First Financial. I'm just going through the ones that came up on our scan. It's fine. It's below a downtrending 200. Not loving that one. This one looks like it's about to just rip lower. Don't like this. Stock can't rally. MedPace. All right. Now this looks very strong. Those of you who know chart patterns and like the technical side, what chart pattern do you see here in Comstock Resources? What would you say this is? There's about a 30-second delay between when I speak and when it comes onto YouTube. So I got to wait a second for you guys. I don't want to make you just sit here in silence, but I'll just show you. It's a cup with handle pattern. And this is one of the most well-known chart patterns out there, originated by William O'Neill of Investors Business Daily. But essentially what you do, it forms this cup, forms a little handle, and then essentially you look to buy when it breaks out above that little handle. This is just showing you, hey, I was down, I brought it back up, a little wiggle here to work out the rest of supply. It's looking for a push higher. It also, if I'm just breaking down the chart, I'm seeing the up-down ratio and the volume is very good. And all that looks at is how much volume comes in on the up days and how much on the down days. So one is kind of the baseline. The higher, the better. And this is extremely, extremely bullish. I'm also seeing this stock held its 200-day moving average. That's this white line. It's the long-term trend of that stock. Very, very good to see. Even this nasty bear market, it held the 200-day. It's pushed all the way back to its highs and formed this little cup with handle. And this stock is now trading within 7% of all-time highs. This is after the worst day we've had in 2 years on Tuesday. It's in a nasty bear market, and this stock is up ripping high. So this is what I want to see, because put yourself in the position of one of these insiders. You work at a company, you know what's going on, you know what the earnings are, you know what the outlook is. I talked about how they often buy when a stock's down, right? If they were buying, down in here, I wouldn't have been surprised. I probably wouldn't have taken it because I don't like stocks trending lower. But they're going, all right, we think it's worth more. Turned out they were right and it comes higher. But if you're buying up here at the highs of the stock, and frankly, at all-time highs for your stock, you're not trading for value. You're trading because you think, you know what? I know we're at highs, but we're doing even better than the market realizes, or we're going to be worth even more than this 6 months, a year from now. And so these tend to be the stocks I focus on, because those trading at highs, the insiders are still buying, are both stocks that are more primed to make a move very quickly and a more powerful move. I've made some big wins buying it off the bottom, but I've taken far more losses that way. This is sort of what I like to focus on, the stocks that have high relative strength, near highs, or at least trending higher, and insiders are buying them anyway. And Michael, you win the gold star for today, calling that cup with handle there. So let's break this down a little bit further. We got a chart we like. This is an oil and gas stock. Let's see what they do. Okay, oil and gas exploration. Firm operates in the Haynesville Shale, premier natural gas. All right, so it's a natural gas stock based in Frisco, Texas. I used to live up there. Never worked in oil and gas, but it's a day for another day. So we can take a look at this stock, CRK. Again, all this fundamental crap you don't need to worry about. This will make your head spin. You can spend 5 years, 6 years studying this stuff like I did and realize it never makes you any money. Then you go, you know what? Just focus on the market. Focus on what the stock's doing. So here are these two charts. This is what I like to see. All right. This shows the green buys are the insider, or the green bars are insider buys. The red bars are the insider sells. Now there's two charts here. If you can see the dates, it goes back from 2020 up to today. The chart on the left shows the number of insider buys. The chart on the right shows the volume of insider buying. Now, initially, you look at this chart on the right and think, oh, it's basically nothing. But it's in relation to this. If I go down this giant red bar here that came on August of 2020, well, this was it. These were the sells. I mean, this was some Covey Park Holdings LLC. So what that means is this is a fund who owned more than 10% of that company, which technically made them an insider, and he sold 9.8 million shares worth $55 million. That's a monster trade, but that's not a CEO or a CFO or a guy making a couple $100,000 a year. That's a fund managing billions of dollars. So it's going to skew the volume here. However, the chart on the right helps us out. It shows the number of insider buys or sells. So you see back here, there were 3 insider buys. So this is the first insider buying we've seen since 2020. We had some buying here in August, had some buying here in September. So it's good. This is what I want to see. What I don't like is like the one we looked at, Texas Pacific Land, the TPL. It's every single month there's insider buying. That's not a bad sign, but it tells us this is not opportune. We're not seeing, oh, these insiders out of nowhere loading up on the stock. And that's what I want to see. I want to see them coming in out of nowhere, buying up where they normally don't. And yes, that's the site, Cody. So we can go down here and look at the trades they're breaking down. You notice the dates here, first of all. Not a lot of insider trading. Here's some buys in 2017, a buy in 2019, those big buys in 2020. And look how much they're up there. See when the president, chairman, and director all bought the stock all in the same day, May of 2020, came in for, this is in thousands right here. So they bought 118,000, 190,000, 350,000. Look how much they're up now. It's been just over 2 years, from 326, 325%. This is the power of following these insiders. So then there's been nothing since then until last month. The vice president of operations bought $425,000 worth of stock on August 8th. And then last week, or what is it, 10 days ago, something like that, 8 days ago, we had Director Morris Foster go in for $245,000. And we had another director, Jim Turner, go in for $900,000. These are direct buys, meaning they're in their direct personal account. And again, they haven't bought in a long time. Now, we can take this a step further. Okay, you guys, I'm kind of somewhat known for being a research junkie. We can take it a step further. So we can take a look at this Morris Foster. And director just means they're on the board of directors, by the way. Okay, so board of directors, they're privy to everything. You know, if they're going to be bought out, if they're buying a new another business, making an acquisition, if they're planning a big strategic turnaround or hiring a new CEO, all those decisions are made by the board of directors. So they know what's going on. Okay. We can quickly see here his portfolio based on his insider trading, primarily Exxon. I'm guessing Morris Foster works at Exxon. I'm going to use a very sophisticated tool here called Google. And we'll see where he is. There you go. Formerly the president of ExxonMobil production. Okay, so that's where he came from. Not surprising, he's on the board of a natural gas company. These board of directors members, generally they find high-ranking executives within the industry so that they can give some insight into an area they know about, right? If you want someone on your board, who do you want? Well, the former president of Exxon freaking Mobil is probably a pretty good guy to have to give you a little bit of guidance. That's why most of the stocks here. But the only stocks bought Comstock Resources. And you can see here, all he's really done is sell. This is the first insider buy he's made, I mean, in at least 20 years. All these are sells in Exxon. And the reason you'll see a lot of these sales, and I won't throw a lot at you today, so just digest it slowly. The reason you'll see a lot of these insider sales, executives often, their compensation, how they get paid is primarily stock and stock options. All right, so you hire a guy like Morris to run Exxon, and here's how that conversation goes. You go, all right, Morris, we're going to give you a base salary of $800,000 a year or something, which, hey, for most of us, it's pretty darn good. But they go, but Morris, where you're really going to make your money, we're going to give you another, $2 million in Exxon stock every year. We're going to give you stock options, or basically call options or warrants, to buy an additional 100,000 shares a quarter based on this. And what they're doing is structuring his compensation in a way that, hey, if our stock goes up a lot, you're going to make a crap ton of money. If our stock goes down, you'll be fine. You're not in the poorhouse, but you're not going to have a $30 million year. Again, the board of directors, their sole job is to protect the shareholder, to look out for the shareholders' interest. That's you and me. Their job is to put people in place who create value for the company, make the stock go up. So they want to align those interests. I tell you all that to tell you this, because let's say this guy makes $20 million a year and 19 million of that comes in stock. What does he have to do if he wants to buy a beach house? or a yacht or send a kid to college or add a third wing on his mansion or whatever these guys do. They have to sell their stocks. You're regularly going to see these sales in here of 1 million, 700,000, 12 million, a million, all the way through. But when they're buying the stock, when they're coming in with their own money to buy, even though you already have a ton, it's really a good sign. So this is only insider buy. Don't know how long he's been on the board. We could Google that as well, but this is his first insider buy. So that's a really good sign to me. Okay. Let's look at the other insider buying, Jim Turner, our other director. Here's his buying history. And this is his third buy in Comstock Resources. One back in 2014. That's 8 years ago. We're going to ignore that because the stock's been up and down and sideways since then. Looks like he's a director at Dean Foods and Crown Holdings as well. Some of these trades up. Dean Foods, this is showing down 99.9%. I think that's because of this weird, it trades over the counter now, so it's a misvaluation. I don't want to get into the details of how these things work and getting delisted and all that. But for the most part, let's just look at this more recent stuff. When it comes to Comstock, I bought 3 times. One, December of 2014. And then he was one of those buys in May of 2020 where he's up 326%. Okay. So I don't know what happened in 2014. We can look. Let's see. CCK, D's 14. Let's go to a weekly. Whoops. So he bought back in here in 2014. So that's not really relevant to us today. I mean, it doesn't look like it was a great trade. But let's focus on what he's doing here. So his last buy, this is what I want to focus on. Last time he bought Comstock was 2020 in May. Look at what he did. Okay, bought 75,000 shares at $4 a piece. So his cost of that trade, he invested $354,000. Okay, and he's done great. He's up 300%. So he's turned 354,000 into what, $1.5 million bucks? Not a bad couple years in the market. But look at today's trade. Well, the 8th, so a week ago. Today's trade, he's put $900,000 in. So his high conviction buy here at the lows in May, which is a great trade. He went in for 350,000. He's buying almost triple that amount here at around $18.30 a share. So this to me is a really good sign. Is it guaranteed we're going to make money off this? No. Is this guy incapable of losing? No, but he's got a pretty good track record here. All right. His last buy was May, right back in here. Okay, at $4 and something. Oh, there it is. There's May of 2020. Yeah, he was buying right in here. Okay. This one took him a while. This was a value buy, like I talked about. He knew the stock was worth more. It went up pretty quickly. If you can see here, I can zoom in, but it's just a pain. Up 40% in the first month or so, but then it chop. Well, now he's finally getting paid on this. Now he's up, now he's up big. All right. So now he's coming in here. We got a stock at the highs. It's a natural gas stock, nat gas prices. Let me see. Is it NG? Nat gas prices, as you see up here near all-time highs, looking for almost the exact same pattern, looking to break out. We got a commodity in great demand, surging in price. We got a stock near its highs. We got heavy buying from insiders in a stock that they do not often buy. So we got sort of some rare or opportune buying, I would say. We've got 2 insiders with fantastic track records for buying, one being a former president of ExxonMobil who knows his business pretty darn well, another being a director who got in at the low and has now tripled up that buy. So all things considered, this looks pretty strong to me. I like this stock here. Now, when it comes to these insider buys, I don't trade them exactly the way I do my more active stuff, where I'm getting in very, very quickly, trying to buy the breakout. If not profitable in a couple of days, I'm out using very tight stops. I'll give these a little bit more room because, again, these insiders have to hold for a while. They're not trying to time it down to the second. They're pretty good at their timing within a week or two or a month maybe, okay, at the low. But they're not like champion stock traders who are trying to get in at the exact precise penny. They're just going, look, I know where things are going, put $1 million in this thing. So I'll give it a little bit more. I'm not saying a 50% stop loss, but for this one, for example, I'd like to see it stay above, maybe in here at this swing low would be one place. I'm just talking about where it could put a stop loss, right? Maybe down in here, like this red. What would that represent? If we bought it today, that would be a risk of around, 13.5%. If you want to give it a little more room, this red line is a 50-day moving average. It's a big area I like to look for support. So if you put it down a little bit lower, that'd give you risk about 18%, maybe go up a little tighter, just somewhere right in this neighborhood. Let's call it around 15% is ideally what I'd like to risk. That'd be a stop somewhere around the $17 mark. Okay. Now, I've seen this has happened to me. I've been doing this for a lot of years. This could happen. The stock will come down. It stops me out. And then it goes to the absolute moon. It's frustrating. It sucks. No matter how you trade, how you invest, it's happened to you too. I guarantee it. We can't control that. Remember, when it comes to stocks, we can't control how high they go, how low we go, how low they go, when it happens, what our investors do. There's two things and two things only you can control. It's when you buy and when you sell. So when it comes to risk, I'm very firm on the risk parameters here. You put a dollar amount or percentage you're willing to risk and you hold to it. Because look, while this thing could come, stop you out, turn around. Most people see this and go, man, I knew it. I'm going to risk more next time. Guess what happens next time? Next time you do this and you go, see, that's what happened. Now I'm risking 25. I'm not using a stop loss. These stop losses screw me. Next time is the one that goes all the way down and you lose 80%, you lose 90%, and you're really in the hole and you got to go find more money. So, you got to use a stop loss somewhere. 2%, probably too tight. 5%, you're risking it. 10, 15% on a stock like this with a good chart pattern, I think works. So Comstock one I like here. CRK, you buy it here, it's $20. You got to stop at 17. All right, that comes out to a 15% risk. You've got a cup with handle pattern. You got a stock trending higher with strong relative strength. It's in a good area of the market. It's being bought heavily by insiders. We're stacking the odds in our favor, one thing at a time. Okay, so that makes sense to everybody. Comstock Resources, CRKs. Everybody understand that, why we like it, what we're looking at. Just kind of want to show you my process for finding some of these opportunities. Questions on this so far? There's about a 30-second delay between when I speak and when you guys see it. So I'm going to give you about a minute here, and I'll bring up some others to scan. Okay, let's go back to our scanner. Well, we'll just fire through some more stocks. If you guys weren't here at the beginning, what we did, we ran a really basic scan here. There were stocks being bought by at least two insiders, trades of $200,000 or more between the 1st of September and today, which is September 15th. So in the last 2 weeks, we populate this list of stocks down here that are all meeting our criteria. And we're just kind of taking a lightning round approach to finding stocks that look good and then going through and looking at the details of the transaction. Who's buying, what is their track record like? Do they often buy? We went through and we came across Comstock Resources. Let's just keep going here. If you want to screenshot these down here that we're going to be running through real quick, go ahead and do that now. All right, so I like to just fire through the charts. FRSH, not the most attractive one. Okay, probably going to move on from that. DEI, I would call that a pretty severe downtrend. No demand. It's getting obliterated. Not really interested in buying a stock. Got to hold that long to make money on. PVH, no. It just looks ugly. All right. Now you got my attention. This is Globalstar. Now, these are technically penny stocks. Anything below $5 is classified as a penny stock. This one isn't that small. Let's see. It's a $3 billion company, so it's still big. See the market cap here? Small cap stocks are from like 300 million to I think 2 billion. It's technically a mid cap. Penny stocks, these companies where it's worth like 50 million, 80 million, anything less than 100 million, you're rolling the dice. It's a couple guys in their garage with stuff they got from Radio Shack, right? It's really, really tiny companies. You want to be careful. But a $3 billion company, you get in the B's, it's not a roll of the dice crapshoot. Okay. So here's one. Looks like we had some big news happen. Look at what happened here. This stock, first of all, was looking beautiful. I mean, this thing runs from $1 quarter to $2 going into August. Some sort of news event happened. The stock in one day went up 37%, down 25%, and closed down 2%. Big range, down 18% the next day, and is now trying to come back. So first thing I'm going to do, listen, when a stock has a 45% range in a single day, I need to know why. All right, so let's just look at the news. This was September the 7th, or 8 days ago or so. All right, this is what it is. So those of you who don't know, Tesla, about a week ago, about 8-9 days ago, held a press conference with T-Mobile. It wasn't Tesla, technically. It was Elon's other company, Starlink, SpaceLink. I forget. Anyway, got a bunch of satellites up there. And the announcement he made was just that they're going to use those satellites and allow T-Mobile users to have emergency messaging in the middle of nowhere. Now, it's not as great as it sounds. There's not enough bandwidth to make phone calls or video messages, but basically what it means is like, look, if you're hiking Mount Kilimanjaro, but there's no service and you have an emergency, there's enough data to send a few text messages and get them back and basically be in contact in those corners of the globe where there's no service. So it's an exciting thing, I guess, for people in certain areas of the world or in certain trades where they can't get service other places and need to have that. And you see here, Apple unveils iPhone 14 with emergency satellite messaging as well. So this is a stock by, I didn't tell you what the company does. They're a communications company. And so this is a hot thing right now. So T-Mobile does it. Apple's going, Apple can't let anybody have anything they don't have. So they're coming out as emergency messaging satellites. So there's clear demand for this. This is why the stock was running up. Again, people know, Wall Street knows, insider knows, just why the stock rises 40, 50% here during the month of August. So that's what it's all around. The Apple announcement, the T-Mobile and Starlink announcement. People think, all right, this thing could get some buzz here. So this, I'm guessing, the T-Mobile announcement comes out. It's like, oh, this is great for us. Oh, wait, that's not I don't know, something like that. Just wild volatility as the market tries to reprice this information. But look, it's kind of held its ground. It's up 6%. It's down 2%. It's up 4%. So it's kind of holding in here. All right, so we got the 8th, 9th. This week it's been 1, 2, 3, 4. So I think it's kind of stabilized. It's held this red line, a 50-day moving average. Okay, I'm satisfied. Right, I'm not scared of this thing anymore. So let's go back to our data. Let's see who's buying this thing. Let's look at GSAT, Globalstar, GSAT is the ticker. Again, whole bunch of fundamental data you can chunk right out the window. I'm telling you, because I've done it. I got a bookshelf. I've read everything Buffett put out. I've read what's the big Buffett Bible, The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham. It is a mind-numbing 500 pages. It'll make you a great value investor, and you can lose money at an even faster rate. Trust me, ignore that crap. Focus on what's moving. We're focusing on one thing and one thing only right now, and that's the insiders. Well, the stock chart and the insiders. Again, this is another great looking chart. Now, at the beginning, if you guys weren't here, we looked at one there's a ton of insider buying. This is the insider buy-sell ratio. This is the insider buying activity monthly for the last roughly 3 years. So the blue lines are price of stock. Green bars are chunks of insider buys, and red bars are chunks of insider sales. Now, we see there's a huge number of buys. There's 13 insider buys in December of 2019. There's been nothing since then until the 7 buys this month. That's a great sign. So look at this. You can see it in the dates here. And I look at this every day. So you guys are like, oh my God, Ross, slow down. My apologies. But look here. Look at the dates. All right. 2019 in December. I mean, they were loading the boat. And look how much those trades are up now. 375, 387, 400%. There's a big cluster buy. Tons of insiders buying right here in 1 month in a stock that rarely sees it. December of 2019. Let's look at the chart. What was happening then? It was right in here. Okay. So we're buying right in there. Now, again, this is a stock, we talked about this earlier. This was a stock that was down severely. So they were buying on value or something. It took a year before the thing took off. So I'm not as interested. You still make great money, but I'm not as interested in stocks that they're buying because they're cheap. I like when they're buying when they're already up. That tells me good things are likely coming. The stock is up. It's pricey, but they still want to buy because they think it's going to go even higher. All right. So let's go back to our trades here. That's what happened in 2019. Nothing from December of 2019 until September 9 of this year. So a week ago, 6 days ago, 3-year gap, no insider buying. And suddenly what do we get? Director goes in for these numbers right here. By the way, the cost column, see my cursor, is in thousands. So 25 means 25,000, 44,000. So these aren't hugely important to me, but some of these as a whole are pretty big. 150,000 here from a director, 18,000, 27,000, not huge. Here's 183,000 from a director, 45,000, 15,000. So a lot of these are fairly small. I'd like to see bigger buys, right? I'd like to see these in the $50, $100, $200,000 range. Now you can even like Google some of these people and see what their salaries are. It sounds dirty, but like, it's just public information, publicly traded company. You know, you want to play ball, well, that's what you got to deal with. But I see a couple of things that stand out to me. First of all, is this buy right here by Barbie Ponder. This says general counsel. General counsel is just the company lawyer. How many of you know a lawyer, are a lawyer in this room? I know if my brother-in-law is an attorney and one of my favorite people on earth, but 9 out of 10 lawyers I meet are not the coolest cats in the room. Okay. I don't want to beat up on lawyers, but just by profession, by trade, they're always thinking about risk and what can go wrong. And they're risk averse people. All right. I drive a Humvee, right? I don't really fit in their category. So we don't always see eye to eye on things, and it just can be kind of boring. I say that to tell you they're very risk averse. They're always concerned about appearance because of their trade. They know that insider trading violations or speculation on that, it's going to be extremely high on the freaking lawyer because he knows best. So if they're willing to risk their reputation, the heat, from the SEC and from regulators and the scrutiny there to put their own money in, generally a pretty good sign. So I just really like general counsel buys. I like CEO buys. So we got a decent little cluster. Would I like some of these buys to be bigger? Absolutely, I would. But I like the trend we're seeing, and I'm gonna let these kind of slide. Or I still like it because this is a stock that's seen no insider buying at all since 2020 or 2019, excuse me. And if we go back to these buys back in here, some of these were bigger, 100,000, 400,000, et cetera. Some of them were obviously very small, 10,000, 5,000. You know, some of these weren't as big as well. But again, it's better than nothing. We see no activity in 2.5 years, and suddenly they're buying now. All right. Okay. Now, really quickly, by the way, I just got a plug here. We do have, I run a service called Stale Trades. Got a special $5 offer if you guys want to join that and join me live sessions each week. I'm going to put the QR code up here on the screen. If you want to flash that on your phone, it'll take you to that $5 offer. Another alternative, we have it in the description below this video. Just click that tiny URL link. You can sign up. It's $5, literally $5. There's nothing else added to it. We have live sessions, I share trades. It's a great way if you're looking to get more into stock trading and investing and more active stuff to learn about it. You're with me live every week. So I'm going to put that up here just so you can see that. Let me move it over in case it's in the way of my photo. So really quickly, scan that if you want, or hit the link below to sign up for a special $5 Stale Trades offer. Okay. There's my plug. And thank you, Cody. I appreciate that. All right, so let's dig a little bit deeper into this one, then we'll cut off here. We're going to be going about 40 minutes longer than I wanted to go, but it's just, I could talk about this for days. I've been doing this. I'm telling y'all, find somebody who knows more about insider trading, who tracks this stuff deeper. If you find them, please give them my number. I'd love to meet them. I've been doing this for a lot of years. I've never met anyone who goes as deep and studies this stuff as deeply as I do. There's a lot of people out there that just blindly follow this stuff, but they don't do the deep analysis. And I guarantee some of these experts that run services are going to be watching this video on YouTube to learn how to do this better because they don't know what they're doing. So let's look at some of these buys here. Let's take James Monroe, or director. His portfolio is all Globalstar. His trades have done pretty well. I mean, he bought back here in 2019. Several of those buys were him that are up 300, 400%. He was buying back in 2017. But again, his most recent one was December of 2019. Now he's coming in here. It was a decent sized buy for his size. Let's look at our general counsel. So they made 2 buys this week or last week, one on the 9th, one on the 13th, one for 27,000, one for 25,000. So that's fantastic. Other than that, they've done nothing but sell. We were talking earlier about how these executives are paid in stock and stock options. So it's not a death knell that they're selling the stock. It's either trying to free up cash or they're going to buy something or diversify. But look at that. This person's been the general counsel since at least 2014. And that's 8 years ago. And all that time, there's no buys until the last week. So this again, there's no guarantees out there, but clearly they have plenty of stock. They sell anytime they need cash, and now they're suddenly buying. So great look there to me. Let's look at the CEO. What's his history look like? All right, this is only his second buy. Not surprising because he's probably given so much stock. But look at this. He bought back in 2016. And then it's been 6 years since he bought any. And now he's beginning to buy again. Not a huge buy at 45,000, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him follow up on these. And they'll often, come in a little bit here, and place, 3-4 trades a week, or have their attorney or whoever make the investments for them. So this one also looking really good to me. Now, this is a cheaper stock. It's $1.86. And if you see $1.86, everyone in this room, you're having one of 2 reactions to this price. You're either salivating and going, oh, daddy's buying a couple thousand shares because you love the cheap stocks. Or you're going, I don't know. I don't like those cheap ones. That looks a little risky. There's nothing wrong with either reaction. Okay. People have different approaches to this. I kind of have, I mean, it's, 6 of one, half dozen of the other. I generally, for my personal, try to stick to stocks $5, $10 more when I'm doing the traditional investment, which is following institutional activity, seeing what they're placing their bets, trying to find breakout opportunities. But look, these insider trades, I've recommended stocks that went up 50+% in 4 days. I've recommended stocks that went nowhere for 3 months and then jumped 50% overnight when they got bought out. I've recommended stocks that just climbed and climbed and climbed. I got one, an energy company we did that's up. What is it up? It's been 2 years, but it's just ripped higher. Let me show you. It's up 1,552% as of right now. It's Matador Resource. Now we've sold along the way and taken profits, but it's just ripped higher. Some of our more recent ones, like these last 2 we bought last month, haven't really gone anywhere yet. We're in a nasty market. But the 2 we got in September, late August, up 25%, 22%. So there's just no guarantee on what can happen here. Let's see some questions coming on YouTube. Let me answer those really quickly before we finish up here. What's up with the price action on GSAT on 9.7 crazy range? Yeah, I'm hoping you asked that before we talked about it. We did look into this. It has a telecommunications company. It has to do with both T-Mobile announcing their limited range service, like basically in the middle of the jungle and stuff for text messaging and all. So you're never completely out of range in emergency. They announced that with Starlink. And then like within days, the iPhone came out announcing, how'd they put it here? Emergency messaging feature as well. So I'm guessing this company's involved in that, and it's just a wild, readjustment of price. So that's what's going on with that range. What would you be doing with CRK options till January? 3 or 4 spots out of the money. All right, Eric, if you got an option trader, let's see here. I'm gonna look. I've got a bunch of monitors, so you're not seeing what I'm doing here. I'm just logging into my account so I can pull up an option chain. And by the way, if anyone's watching from TradingView, if y'all want to add option chains in here, that'd be super cool. Only thing I got to go outside to do. And the charting platform you're looking at, by the way, is TradingView. It's my favorite, hands down. There's a free version, a $5 a month version. I've got one I pay a couple $100 a year for. Great software for charting. And you can actually link brokerages to it. So I just opened a new account with Interactive Brokers. I put 30 grand in it. It just hit today. But if you want, there's a handful of brokers. You see here, you can actually link up and trade within it. The only ones to do stocks are TradeStation, Interactive, and maybe Ally Invest, which I tried, wasn't a big fan of. Wanda might, I'm not sure, but that's an option for you as well. I don't work for them. I don't get paid for them. Just something I was sharing with you. Okay, so let me look at, whoops. Trade. Trying to pull up an option chain. Anyway, to answer your question, I don't want to slow everybody down by looking for a specific option chain. But if you want to do an option with this one, I like to go on these insider trades. I like to go 3 to 6 months out. All right, so it's September 15th right now. So I will be looking at, I think you nailed it, January or so. A few spots out of the money. I like, you know what delta is, Eric? I like a delta of somewhere in the neighborhood of like 20 to 35 or 40 on these. That just means it's going to move 20, 30 cents for every dollar the stock moves. So it's probably going to be somewhere around like the $2 option, maybe 2.25, something like that. Okay. Matt, stop on GSAT. Yeah. So if I bought here, let's take a look. Let's see what we need to risk. I think we've got a nice little support level at the low. We saw a wild effing day right in here. Okay. If it goes back below that, I'd be out of this sucker because that was an extreme volatility. The lowest it went was $1.61. So Matt, I think you nailed it. I think you nailed it at $1.60. If you bought here at 186, you put a stop at 160. You're risking 14% on this trade. All right. If that's too high for you, maybe you want to put the stop at below the low of yesterday, which would mean 7-8%. Higher likelihood you're going to get stopped out and you'll take a loss, but it'd be lower. But that's what I would do. In fact, I may recommend this one to my Insider Effect members. I kind of like it. It's a more speculative play at $1.86. But again, we've got insiders buying, opportune buying, that rare buying, exactly what I want to see. This is what I look for when I pull these charts. I look to see no one ever buys a stock and suddenly they're all buying. It's exactly what I want to see. The only thing to make this one better to me is if there was an extra zero in all these trades. This was 200,000 and 400,000 and 270,000. I'd like these to be bigger. So is it perfect? No, but it looks really good. Comstock, yeah, same thing. No one really buying. Suddenly they're all piling in these last 2 months for the first time in a year, 2 years. These are better trades. 900,000. 245,000, 427,000. Look good by the VP of operations, by a couple of directors who digged into their history. So this is the approach we take. Now I'll take this stuff a little bit further. I'll dig into these executives. I'll look for things like what I call good faith buys. So for example, if you've got, let's say Globalstar appointed a new CEO last month and he owns no stock. Well, he'll often come in and put $250,000 of his money into the stock, what I call sort of show of faith buy. He just wants to see people that he's eating his own cooking, that he believes in the company. He wanted to show up on the Form 4s that all the insiders buying, to show he's got faith in his company. So I'll dig in and make sure these guys who are buying or these gals that are buying have been there for several years, et cetera. We'll look a little bit at the fundamentals of the company, not a lot, but I'll just look at what's the earnings expectations for the stock. So for example, with GSAT, I don't see a whole lot here. It says Market Smith. We just have been seeing pretty good sales growth last few quarters, 22%. No big earnings growth on the horizon. It is in the telecom sector. You see 36, so it's a highly ranked sector. Funds kind of adding into this one. A hot top ranked stock in that sector. We don't have time to go through all this today, but I do a little bit more research behind the scenes there for our Insider Effect service. But this is the broad-based approach. Okay. What stocks are insiders buying in size right now? Are those stocks going up or are they going down? If they're going down, I'm really not as interested because I don't, You may be fine with that. You may be looking for stocks you can hold for 2 years and hopefully make a good chunk on. I'm looking for stocks going to move fairly quickly, month, 2 months maybe at best. So the ones at highs just tend to be a stronger sign that positive news is likely to come out about that company sooner rather than later. If a stock is reasonably cut in half, they're just buying. They think it's worth more, and the market will eventually realize it. If they're buying, like in the case of Comstock, when the stock is up here at its highs, they're likely buying because, you know what? News is about to be even better. Yeah, our stock's up at all-time highs. It's about to go a whole hell of a lot higher. They don't know about X, Y, Z. They don't know we've hedged all our nat gas production for the next 3 years or whatever I just made that up, whatever the news may be. And so I like these a little bit better. So that's 2 stocks we found here. We've been for 50 minutes. And we could find them a little bit sooner if we weren't doing all the explanations. But Comstock Resources, I think, is one. I'm not making an official recommendation on this. I'm just telling you what I might do. I might buy it in here, put a stop down here around 17, risk 14, 15% on the stock, see if it runs. For GSAT, if I wanted to take a position in this, not recommending you do it, not telling you what to do with your money. But if it were me and I was interested in this stock and I've seen this and you like what you see here, I might buy it. And as Matt pointed out, I might work a stop around $1.60 a share, give me about a 12% risk, see if it goes from here. If it goes out and breaks this low and makes new lows, we are in a pretty ugly market. As you can see, it's selling off again today. If that happens, so be it. I'll take a 12% loss. I'll move on with my life. If it runs from here, it could make some real money. And it doesn't have to go too much dollar terms. If it just gets back up in here, it's a 17% gain. Gets up here, it's a 60% gain. But this thing, could move. Who knows? Let's see. Elena asks, what trading platform do you recommend for automaticity? I guess you mean automation, and allows for quick execution on buys and sells, including penny stocks without penalty. I don't know what all that means. I don't know. If you're looking for something automated, then you're doing some kind of trading system, right? And I don't know what your system is or what your needs are. If it's an automated system based on penny stocks, I've never heard of such a thing, but if it exists, whoever designed it would probably have a better idea where to trade those penny stocks. I wouldn't even know where to begin with that question. Mike, is Thinkorswim TD Ameritrade good for? Yeah, I use TD Ameritrade, Thinkorswim for years. Great platform. You can trade stocks, options, futures on it. They got good charting. Sure, nothing wrong with that. The thing is, it's 2022. Most of these brokers are fine. Don't go with Jim Bob's discount brokerage.net, or something like that. But look, if you're looking at TD Ameritrade, you're looking at Fidelity, you're looking at Interactive Brokers, E-Trade, Schwab, any of the big ones, for the most part, they've got good technology. They're all doing basically $0 stock commissions these days. They've all got decent charting. I prefer TradingView for my charting for lots of reasons, but I can save all these different watch lists. I can save a bunch of different layouts. It's user-friendly. There's a web-based. There's a fantastic mobile app. I can set alerts. These guys should pay me. I preach on their service so hard. I just absolutely love it. There's also idea feeds in here. Like I'll publish a lot of ideas, buying opportunities I'm seeing, where I can kind of do a write-up on the stock, what we're seeing. Like here's one I published on CPRX. We're going to go through what we're seeing in the stock, why I like it. It's sort of a community experience. But anyway, that's my shill for TradingView. If you don't have a charting package, not something you're used to, I'd do that. Try the free version, play with it for a few weeks. If you like it, upgrade, etc. Thank you, Matt. I appreciate that, man. I look forward to working with you as well. Listen, we've gone on for almost an hour here. Hopefully you guys have learned something from this. Who kind of has a better understanding of insider trading, what to look for, how it works, maybe the advantages of following that now. Again, if you're interested in trading stocks, how to find lucrative opportunities and breakouts and the things I specialize in, go to the link in the description below this video. We've got a special $5 offer to join me to a live session every single Monday for about an hour Also send you weekly updates, things like that. At $5, it's basically risk-free. If you're not willing to risk $5 on this, you're probably not ready to be trading stocks. But look, it's something to prove our value to you guys, show you what we can do, and let you essentially a free look. The $5 basically just covers, it doesn't even cover, but some of our back-end costs for our support team and things like that you'll have available to you. So appreciate you all being here. If you missed part of this whole video will be available on our YouTube channel. So to go back and view. And if you want to be sure you catch all our future live sessions, all you got to do, like this video and then hit subscribe to the Traders Agency channel. When you do that, then when these live events come, let's see if you can see it. I got a message from my wife and some other stuff, but if you can see it here, it'll pop up on your phone when a live session's coming up. See, I was grilling last night. See my Traeger probe alarm, but see the alert there. It'll pop up. We're doing a live session. It'll say, hey, Traders Agency's going live in 30 minutes. Here's who's talking, what they're talking about. And you can either ignore it or tune in, but that way you won't miss one. So just do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and hopefully we'll see you on the next one. I appreciate it, guys. Y'all have a great rest of your trading week. Be safe, and we'll see you next time.